Hi everyone, thank you for joining me for our masterclass today, of which I want to talk about how can we avoid disease during menopause. And firstly, let me say thanks for joining me and actually taking a moment to say congratulations, because the fact that you're showing up and you're listening to this education today, you're engaging, you're plugged in, so it shows you do care. So I always like to start with give yourself a pat on the back, because you have shown up, and that's really important, because the more we know, the more education we receive, the better decisions we're able to make moving forward. So let's define what aging well means. So I'm sure to all of us, it would mean something different. If I said to you, if you could have a magic wand and you could age well, what would that bring up for you? And I guess if we made it more an umbrella type term, it would mean things like we would be physically well. So we would be able to be disease-free and injury-free. Cognitively, we would be quite well. So we're able to communicate and make decisions about our day, our life, our health, our everything, because cognitively we're firing on what I say, all six. And last but not least, I also think it is an umbrella term of having engagement in our community. So being aging well to me is being able to, whether it's volunteer work in your community or exercising with your community or spending time with your family, being able to go out and enjoy life. Yeah. So what does it mean for you? Sometimes it's worth sitting down and just thinking, how do I want to age? And once we've decided what aging well means for us, the next step is saying, well, what do I need to do to get there? Yeah. And if we think about menopause, and we all know it's those hormones are changing, and with the hormones changing, it accelerates aging. And so we find the symptoms that we see quite readily, that we know about and we talk about, are the things like the hot flushes, the night sweats, the mood swings, the lack of energy, the changing of our body shape, irritability. Did I already say that? Mood swings. Sorry, girls, just living the dream. And what else? We see all these different things that we talk about in regard to menopause. And I want to talk about the other things that happen during menopause that, if we choose to age naturally, probably will come up for us. And then let's talk about how we can avoid those things. So if we dig a little bit deeper, if we think about weight gain, women will often say to me, it's all ended up in the belly. I've just put on weight. I'm eating the same. Don't understand it. If we choose to do nothing about that, that weight gain can then lead to what we call chronic disease. So things like diabetes, heart disease, blood pressure, and even cholesterol. Other things like our loss of nerve function. So we can often find that if we are overweight and our body is acting in a pre-diabetic way, and that would mean that our blood sugar levels are spiking regularly or too much, and that is often a symptom of belly fat, girls. But what it can also mean is that you get nerve damage into your nerves, and a outcome of that can be incontinence through the front and the back passage. So things like not being able to hold on to your urine, but even also not being able to hold on to your number twos. And so we call that fecal incontinence. And surprisingly, the majority of people that enter into nursing homes have some sort of fecal incontinence. And it's not nice to think about, but it is something as an aging person that can truly come upon us purely because our nerve function is not acting accordingly or optimally. Yeah. So something else we need to think about is obviously our muscle strength. So if you look at an older woman compared to a younger woman, you know, a younger woman can pick up something much heavier than an older woman. And it's because our muscle strength is declining as we age. And I guess the outcome of that is a disease we call sarcopenia. And sarcopenia is basically frailty. And frailty leads us to not being able to live independently. So when I talked about aging well and being able to involve yourself in community, it really does take that opportunity away from you because you're too frail to leave the home. You're too frail to be able to drive a car, too frail to walk any distance, too frail to climb stairs, too frail to lift groceries, because your body becomes so frail that you are reliant on even maybe eventually a wheelchair. So other things that can happen with menopause is our cognitive health, our ability to think well. And we know I've been going through that with my mum in regard to she's got Alzheimer's. And, you know, I often get asked the question, even by my husband, what's the difference between Alzheimer's and dementia? So dementia is the umbrella term of cognitive decline. And my mum has the disease of Alzheimer's. And so Alzheimer's can sit under the umbrella term of dementia. And we know that that literally takes your life away, and once again, from aging well. You no longer have short-term memory at all. So what your inability to remember what you did basically 1 minute ago, and that can come out as you forget to eat, you forget to shower, your body isn't even sending to your brain when you're in pain and when you're not in pain, when you're cold, when you're hot. None of that sort of functioning through into the brain. And eventually this leads to things like being unable to swallow because the brain's forgetting how it all works. And it's a horrid disease, and it starts off as cognitive decline. So looking after our brain health, I believe, is something I'm seriously looking at in my 50s to help me prevent going down that same road that I've discovered my mother's been going down, and I'm having to watch along helplessly as there truly is no real cure for that. We also need to think about our joint health. So I had just a lady reach out to me this morning, and she's like, oh, I can't do exercise because my whole body, all my joints are aching and they're in pain. And so this can often happen once again as we age, and this leads to things like stiffness and soreness and pain, and then that can lead to things like injuries and falls, which ultimately can lead to death. And so we really want to be able to keep our joints nice and healthy. And another thing I wrote down here was our bone health. And so as an aging woman, we find many women suffer osteopenia, which is the step before osteoporosis. And so osteopenia is weakening of the bones. Osteoporosis is brittle bones. And so both of these things can once again lead to death as we age. But once again, if we think about our aging well, it's once again, you can literally step off a curb to cross a road and you can break your ankle, or you can cough or laugh or sneeze and break a rib. And so this is where osteoporosis really can become detrimental to us aging in a healthy way. So girls, these are all diseases and ailments that can come upon us if we choose to age naturally during our menopause years. And girls, I'll put my hand up. I know that it's so, what's the word I'm looking for? That it's so, I know the word, it's on the tip of my tongue. See, girls, this is menopause for you, but it's so attractive to age naturally because it's like, oh, I'm getting tired. I just want my life to be peaceful and I'm too old to sort of be, stepping outside my comfort zone. I get it. But it is when we accept that we are aging naturally and we are no longer taking ourselves out of our comfort zone, and we need to really be able to change our mindset to help push us constantly to be able to discover new things, to be able to push our body out of its comfort zone, our brain out of its comfort zone, to really get some really fabulous results. So girls, the very first thing I want to talk about today, which is probably going to surprise you because you're going to think, oh yeah, she's going to ramble on about exercise now, but no, I'm not. The first thing I want to talk about is hormone replacement therapy and how it can be very beneficial to us girls going through hormonal changes. Now, I want to start this with the benefits that hormone replacement therapy can have, especially on women that start taking it in that very first 10 years of menopause. So the average age around that is like 50 to 59. And what the research has discovered is the benefit is that it can protect you enormously from coronary heart disease. Now girls, what you may not be aware of, I've got ant biting me here, sorry. What you may not be aware of is over 50% of women are going to die from coronary or heart disease. Yeah, so from a heart attack or heart disease, over 50%. And so this is the most common way, or the highest rate of how women die as we age. So it would make sense to really look at our heart health, correct? And one way we can do that is by finding more out through our medical practitioner if we are a good fit for hormone replacement therapy. And so before I go any further, a lot of ladies, we've got ants in the house, I don't know why. A lot of ladies get concerned about hormone replacement therapy because they remember, especially our age group, about that study out there that said it can cause breast cancer. I want you to know that that has been debunked and that is no longer true. They've done more and more studies on that study, and they discovered, I've actually written it down, that it was not statistically significant, the findings that they had in regard to breast cancer. So I guess the pros outweighed the cons tenfold. And so thinking about that, it is not something to be concerned of. And if you are concerned, to of course talk to your health practitioner, your doctor, your GP, who can talk you through this study and how it is not any longer prevalent or correct. Oh, these ants are biting me. They're all on the floor. I might have to stop and start again. All right, so girls, knowing that, so we're going to put breast cancer to the side. In fact, it has actually shown to have these benefits. So it's shown to have the opposite effect if we have it between those first 10 years of menopause in regard to breast cancer, and can potentially help protect us against breast cancer. It can also help us in regard to osteoporosis. Now I spoke about that. Brittle bones that can lead to fractures, can lead to breaks, which ultimately can lead to death if you have a fall. And things like even diabetes. It can help you prevent diabetes. And the reason it does that is that it can stabilize your blood sugar levels. And by stabilizing your blood sugar levels, lowers your risk of diabetes. Now, this is super positive as well, because diabetes becomes one of those diseases, once again, I would call it an umbrella disease that can lead to kidney disease, eye disease, lack of circulation through the body, obesity, that can then lead to heart disease and cholesterol and blood pressure and all those other things. So diabetes, I look at is insidious, that word, and it is horrible. Rob suffers from it, and I don't wish it upon anybody. So if we can protect ourselves against that during our early menopausal years, happy days to us. So do think about it from that perspective as well, especially if you've been a little bit at risk of getting that belly fat going into these changing hormonal years. Okay, so the other thing I want you to know is that sometimes if our cholesterol is high, we think about, oh, I might have to go on cholesterol tablets. Now, I've been doing my research, girls, and it seems that cholesterol tablets, which are also known as statins, are of huge benefit, wait for it, to men. And you will see many, many studies showing, oh my goodness, all the benefits of reducing heart disease and all the rest of it in men. And when we started to do studies on women, this is what they discovered, that there was no effect by having a statin on reducing heart disease. However, there was a huge effect by taking hormone replacement therapy. So I'm sort of hitting the drum, I guess, for hormone replacement therapy in asking you to consider it if you have symptoms. Other things that can help you with is these hot flushes and night sweats. That's often a drop in your estrogen, and if you can bring that estrogen level back up, it can really help you with that. And I believe that hormone replacement therapy is very unique. So I have chatted before that I do take it, and I have mine compound. So mine's individualized and worked out based on my blood test levels. And it is something you need to discuss with your doctor, but it is something that I would highly encourage you to consider in this journey of menopause in preventing disease. Because remember, our ultimate goals, girls, is to live well. And so if we can set ourselves up in this time in our life to live well, happy days to us. And so we're looking at the different areas that we can tackle now to prevent and be proactive into being able to live well as an older woman. And so because we are unique and we are all individual, we all have pre-existing different conditions, it is something that needs to be discussed with a health professional. So I'm going to move on from that. So number one, I want you to think about is finding out more about hormone replacement therapy. Yeah, make the phone call, make the appointment. What's the first step that you need to take? Yeah, all right. So just to quickly go over that again, what it can do is it can reduce your risk of breast cancer. It can significantly reduce your risk of heart disease, of which most women will die from. It can also help you with your blood sugar levels, which can help you with your weight, and it can also help you with things like diabetes. It can help you with osteoporosis, and it can even help you with what else did I write there? Lots of good things, basically. So yeah, hot sweats and flushes. Okay, so moving on from there. So girls, yep, I've got to come to my next bit because you know what I'm like. Exercise. We've got to exercise. Like, I know, once again, it is very tempting is the word I'm looking for, to relax. We're getting older, the kids have left home, it's our time, why should I have to go and be hot and sweaty and do all that sort of stuff? Well, the reason is because you want to live well as an older woman. You don't want to be in my mum's boat. You don't want to be in a nursing home. Girls, trust me, I've seen that side of the coin, and for so many of you, I'm sure you have seen that side of the coin with your parents or on TV about nursing homes. It's not the best, and I'm thankful because my mum's now safe and taking her medication, but I wish that her brain health was better, because her body is actually quite well, but her brain's not. And so her whole life of walking out and about, going for coffee with the girls, all of that has stopped, and she's now in a nursing home. And I can't bring it home to you enough that we are in this small window of opportunity to create a different life for ourselves. I promise you, it starts now. It's not when, oh God, I've got breast cancer. Oh God, I've got cancer. Oh God, I've got diabetes. Oh God, I've got heart disease. I better start looking after myself. It's like the horse has already been bolted. We need to start today. Yeah. So in regard to exercise, I think you know the jibe on that, and that is to make sure that you do your resistance training, which is either like lifting weights, using a resistance band, using a booty band, using your own body weight. Resistance training will slow down the aging process. It will keep you strong, so that will reduce the sarcopenia, but it will also keep your metabolism high, which will keep you from putting on excess weight. It will keep your heart healthier, which will reduce the risk of heart disease. It will reduce the risk of diabetes, because your blood sugar levels will be working far more optimally. It will reduce the risk of falls, because you are stronger, you are fitter, you are lifting your feet. It will reduce the risk of joint pain, because you have mobility in the joint, you have circulation through the body. Like, girls, it's a no-brainer. Where it saddens me is how women choose to not find time to exercise. It truly saddens me. I just think, if only you knew. Because when you do get the heart disease and the diabetes, you find time. You find time for the doctor appointment. You find time for the dietitian appointment. You find time to go and get your medication from the chemist, of which costs a fortune. You find time to take your medication, and you end up having everything unravel. Same goes for cancer. You find time, you've chosen to drink alcohol, eat sugar, eat preservatives, additives, processed food, not exercise. Oh, got cancer. Now I've got time to go and have the chemotherapy, the radiation treatment, go to the doctor appointments. But we have to make time now. I can't say it enough. It is our time to put into exercise, and it must be a priority in every one of our days. Yeah. So girls, along with your weight training, you need to get your steps in on a daily basis, and your steps are what really keeps the fat burning, keeps the blood circulation going, keeps your heart healthy, keeps your oxygen levels going through your body, which helps to get all the detoxification going through the lymphatic system. And your body is meant to move. Your body is not meant to sit for hours on end every day. And so get moving, get those steps in, go for a walk in nature, take your dog for a walk, take a friend for a walk. If you're meeting for cappuccino, go for a walk first, and just make sure that you're getting those steps in on a daily basis. Dance to music, just get up and get moving. The next bit is making sure you are looking after your mobility. So are you doing your joint health exercise? So once again, we know that things like walking and low intensity aerobics and swimming and bike riding, all that sort of stuff is fantastic for our joint health and keeps them nice and healthy. Yeah. And last but not least is ensuring that you've got your core going. And so what are you doing toward these little tiny muscles that wrap around your spine and help give you good posture, help keep you strong through your core area through your torso area. We call this our powerhouse. This is the area where the rest of our body works from, and it really does reduce your risk of injuries. And so by placing these 4 pillars into your weekly, by using your interactive calendar, you are being proactive, and I do take my hat off to you for that. So continue doing it, girls. Please find the time, make yourself important, and good job. The next bit is in regard to diet. And girls, I really see so many diets out there, like we've got keto, we've got paleo, we've got meat only, we've got plant-based, and I don't really engage with any of it. And the reason I don't engage with any of it is most of the science will come back to Mediterranean diet way of eating is safe, it's healthy, and it's not, what do I call that? When, you go off into like a branch group, like a tiny little cultish type group. None of that. It's just super healthy. So it's hitting all the benefits, but what I will say to you, it is ensuring you're having adequate protein. I saw something on Instagram yesterday, and I thought that's so true. Is a woman had two pieces of sourdough bread, and she had avocado on each and grounded pepper. And the health professional was explaining that your bread, your sourdough, was carbohydrate and your avocado was fat, and you just created a carbohydrate/fat meal. And we know that weight gain comes when we eat too much carbohydrate/fat. And so because there was no protein in that meal, it really wasn't working for that person that was about to eat that in regard to weight loss and muscle strength and metabolism, but rather against them. And all they had to do was ditch 1 piece of bread, ditch 1 or half the avocado, and now they're left with 1 piece of bread, avocado on top of 1 piece of bread, and add some protein. So add some scrambled eggs, or add some chicken breast or turkey breast, or something like that, and now we've created a wholesome meal. And if we even added a little bit of salad into that, well, now we've created lots of fiber and given us even more bang for our buck. And so it is this learning about how to eat in a way to support our aging body and to prevent disease, rather than eating in a way of thinking we're healthy, but we're not combining our nutrients to support us. Like avocado and sourdough does sound healthy, doesn't it? But it's not supporting you in keeping your body composition healthy. So it's learning that education, and stay with us to learn all those tips, tricks, strategies. Mediterranean style diet, think protein, think fibrous vegetables, lots and lots of fibrous vegetables, think plant-based fat, think portion controlled carbohydrate, stay clear of white carbohydrate, sugar, alcohol. Be mindful of how much fruit you're eating, and be really aware that you're keeping your body hydrated, because hydration will keep everything working well, including your metabolism. So just be aware of that. The next thing I just wanted to say is your stress levels. So stress levels can cause disease, and I'm sure you've all been able to go, yeah, I can imagine that, because when our body's stressed, our immune system's not working with us. It's actually shutting down, because our cortisol that's running through our body and adrenaline that's running through our body, it's sort of taking over the show, and it's leaving the body drained, and it can really set you up for disease. So we need to have in place some stress release strategies and techniques. And so I often talk about the happy list. I talk about, what is your happy list? You might have a happy list that I've only got 30 seconds, and on my happy list is 6 deep breaths. Or it might be I've got half an hour, my happy list is going for a walk out in the sunshine with my dog. And so it's creating your happy list that brings your nervous system from fight and flight into rest and repair. And while your nervous system is in rest and repair, listen to those words, your body is resting and repairing. And so this is where we want to bring our body in and out. We don't want to stay in fight, flight, stress mode, but rather bringing ourselves into rest and repair mode. So think about your happy list there, and that will be able to support you in your stress release techniques. Alrighty, the next one I just want to talk about, it's not last, but let's not last on the list. I feel like all these things are very important to preventing disease as we age, but it is our sleep hygiene. And what I talk about with sleep hygiene is, have you been able to maximize your deep sleep so your body can literally have a bubble bath every night, including your brain, where it gets cleansed? Yeah. And so if we have these really sleepless, restless nights, night in and night out, or lack of sleep, not getting enough sleep, we're really setting our body up for disease because it's not working optimally. They say that your brain's working like you're actually over the limit on alcohol if you're getting less than 6 hours sleep a night. And so we need to set ourselves up for good sleep hygiene. Now, girls, I'll just quickly go over that. Number one tip is to make sure that you get your eyes out into the sunlight very first thing in the morning. And what that does is that sets up your circadian rhythm. And what your circadian rhythm is that rhythm within your body that brings your body into alertness, and then in the afternoon into more a little bit of quietness, lethargy, into evening sleepy, and we go into a deep sleep. So it's your body's natural rhythm. Yeah, up early, energy, engage, get things done. Afternoon, slow down a little bit. Evening, sleepy, go to bed. And so that very first tip is to get that early morning sunlight. And if you can get that late afternoon sunlight as well, sunset sort of time, it even helps to the melatonin to rise even that bit more, that hormone within us that makes us sleepy. Another tip is to make sure that you're going to bed at the same time every night, to try and stop looking at screens like your telephone, computer screens for at least 2 hours prior to going to bed. Make sure when you are going to bed, you try to keep a consistent time on a nightly basis. Make sure your room is really, 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 really dark. Do not sleep in a room where there's light coming in, because that will affect you as well. And make sure that you're cool in your bed. So you don't want to be overly heated in your bed, but rather a little bit cool, and the body will work better with that than being overheated. I think they're my main tips. You know, I do things like gratitude. When I'm going to bed of a night, I take a big deep breath in and I exhale and just what I've been grateful for during the day, or what went well during the day. And I'll do my breaths. I'll do a bit of pelvic floor strengthening, listening to my breath, bring my awareness down to my pelvic floor, maybe going through the different parts of my body and just breathing out, asking them to release and relax. And it's just going through those different things that really just send me off to sleep, and happy days. So I hope that that's helpful to you as well. So girls, let's just quickly recap what I've spoken about. Think about HRT and how that can help you to prevent disease as an older woman and help us to live well. Think about exercise and making yourself a priority to exercise on a daily basis. Think about what you're eating. Are you eating junk, processed, alcohol, sugar, all that stuff that's really toxic to your body and your liver? Or are you feeding your body health? You know, water, colorful vegetables, quality protein, all that good, great health, plant-based fats, nuts, seeds, legumes, all that good stuff. Yeah, I love that stuff. And Then think about your stress levels. What practices are you currently placing in there? And last but not least, think about your sleep hygiene and how that may need a little bit of tweaking. So after listening to today, you probably are thinking, whoa, that's a lot of information. Even if you start tiny, we know that this is where we get the biggest results. So I would recommend that you just pick one or two things that I've spoken about today. It might say, oh, I need to get that appointment for HRT and I need to prioritize myself to get exercise in on a daily basis. Now you'll notice I didn't say you have to do 40 minutes to an hour every day. I'm actually saying you've got to prioritize yourself every day. And so that might be what you need to practice, and then you'll blossom from there. You'll get that much more confidence, start to love exercise, do a little bit more, bit longer, and Bob's your uncle. Or it might be that, my diet's been a bit iffy. I really need to prepare some really healthy meals and get rid of the junk out of the pantry and ditch it. Or it might be I need to revisit my happy list and sit down and write it. Or it might be my sleep practices. I really want to start to engage in creating healthy sleep practices. Girls, practice all these things, and over time your body is going to thank you for it, and it is going to go happy days to us. Because even though as women we can be so judgmental of our bodies, we can look in the mirror and go, oh God, don't like what I see. The reality is our body is our friend. Our body is our suit of whatever you want to call it, that is allowing us to live life, to have these joyful moments, to have these time with our families and our friends and laughter. And, all these joyful moments that we get in life come from us having a body. Because if we didn't have a body, we wouldn't have life. And so rather than treating our body like our enemy, not feeding it properly, not giving it rest, not giving it the fluid that it needs, not giving it the movement that it needs, by not doing that for your body, it will have to repay you with breaking down, because that's where we're at in our life. And so have a moment to look at yourself in the mirror, even naked, and think about how your body is serving you. Like it's giving you health, it's giving you another day to live, to see your family, to engage with your children, your community, to create new fun memories. And our body is our home, and we do have it for life. And I really encourage you to think about your body as your friend and how can you support your friend. All right, well, I've talked enough in this masterclass. I hope you've picked up one or two helpful tips today. And once again, congratulations on caring for your health, girls. It does mean a lot. You are in a small percentage of women that do care, and it means a lot to me that you are taking the steps. Have a good day, and I'll talk to you soon.